Kashmir problem all the time. I believe it is not a Kashmir problem, but problem in Kashmir. The wrong terminology, if used, maligns a land and the people of that land. And so is true about Kashmir itself. The reality of Kashmir is easily visible to someone who sees Kashmir from distances like me, who goes out for some time and then comes back and serves here and sees it from within. This is the land of beauty and abundance. And I always keep on telling everybody that abundance is here, where anything you sow grows in its most exquisite and beautiful form. From apples to plums, to apricot to saffron, to nadru to almonds, and all seasonal vegetables one can imagine. The fruit and vegetable markets in every village of Kashmir reflects this abundance that God has bestowed upon this land. Even people with good heart, जो बो दिया वही उग जाता है यहाँ पर. शायद पत्थर भी बो दो तो वो पत्थर निकल आएगा. And therefore I believe in Kashmir, if you sow hate, you will get hate. And if you sow love, peace and harmony, we will get love, peace and harmony. Choice is with you all, with us in Kashmir. It is not just the land, but it's people who are abundantly talented and capable. Good souls who naturally carry the spiritual vibes that this land was famous for 4 to 5 millennia. Revered by so many religions and spirituals, it needs to become heaven again, not only in terms of natural beauty, but also in nature of living thoughts this land was blessed for, so that it can again be called heaven on earth on true sense. You know, Kashmiris who went out for different reasons at various points of history have prospered, all because of their natural capabilities that make them succeed. They rose to become important people driving political, spiritual and social landscape of India or Bharat. Even Kashmiri Pandits who were driven out in 90s with their hard work have prospered. Then what has gone wrong in Kashmir that is seen as Kashmir problem? I quote, Kashmir problem that we need to talk about. What has caused last 30 years of violence, pain and gloom of death in this blessed land, place of which terrorism, radicalization, victimhood, brainwashing, religious bigotry, etc. are uttered more often about Kashmir and Kashmiris than the good I have talked about earlier. It has been long since the time Sir Walter Lawrence said when Kashmiris were accused of riding 2 horses together and unable to be in control of things or their destiny. Before I share my views with you all on the present day Kashmir, let me first take this opportunity to talk about how we came to the situation that we face today. Kashmir was an abundant land and driver's own destiny in the 13th century. In sad turns of events, Kashmiris lost control over their destiny to foreign tyrants and invaders. Seeds of fear were sown on this fertile and blessed land. Kashmiris lost their ability to smile, to be happy, and started to learn riding 2 horses for survival. Later, even the benevolent rulers like Badshah could also not undo the damages, since the foreign rule continued to remain exploitative in different forms. The 17th century was worst. Even after 1947, when Kashmiris smelled the fragrance of democracy, the seeds of ambiguity were sown for 75 years. The narratives of riding 2 horses for personal advantages were built. In 80s, the seeds of Azadi came to sprout, only to be replaced by seeds of separatism and radicalization. The stories of 90s are well known but rarely spoken of. While driving out Pandits, even many Muslims left, valley due to the prevailing conditions. Seeds of exploitation of women by rape and then disempowerment turned a progressive matriarchal society away from becoming a Kashmiri society contemporary of modern world. The seeds of hate sown sprouted in this fertile land and caused the continued misery. The 75 years also experienced the seeds of distrust and lack of pride in own tradition and history in the Kashmiris. The radicals made many Kashmiris want to ape the culture from the near west. It reminds me of the famous quote of Marcus Garvey, 19th century, and I quote, "The people without the knowledge of the past history origin and culture are like the tree without roots, unquote. The Kashmiris need to reclaim its roots that were intellectual, benevolent, spiritual to become a real progressive society. Pride in heritage and tradition needs to be regained rather than adapting foreign seeds being sown by vested interests. The last ray of hope in first decade of this millennia, which was squandered on the altar of radical thought, spread through the social media, which finally culminated the events of 2016-17. Kashmiris were not sure of what next. The radicals seemed to rule the roost. A lot of water has flown through Jhelum since 2016-17, especially after August 2019, and a glimmer of new beginning is visible. There is hope on the horizon. The security parameters are good. Many violence-affected areas of Kashmir and Valley or Srinagar are now back as economic hubs. The economy is looking better despite COVID. Education is back on its feet and Kashmiris are looking to be part of the opportunity boom as in the rest of the country. There are opportunities for all who have the capability and the intent. Kashmiris have the capability. Time is to sow seeds of prosperity and more importantly of inclusion, happiness and harmony. It is for the youth now, of which you are present here, to build on that positive energy to lay foundation for a progressive society. But let us remain vigilant. The vested interests who once tore the Kashmiri society apart will once again sow seeds of perceived victimhood, oppression or religion under threat. Let us not get misguided by such voices and propaganda. Another appreciable aspect is the growing voices of the women folk in the Kashmiri cultural landscape. It is so heartening to see the fairer gender taking lead on so many platforms, so far dominated by men. Glorious successes of our Kashmiri women in fields of sports, politics, administration, journalism and business entrepreneurs are explicit example of the new normal to which the society is opening up. Today, for first time, Valley will see 2 women SSPs. What a change! Because of these winds of change, it is bringing more economic and infrastructure development in the valley. Look at the rapid progress and boom on the tourism front. Despite apprehensions about the security situation for many tourists, their first visit to the valley is a dream come true. Now, these tourists have flocked to the valley in groups along with their families from across the country. Long queues at the airports, baggage claim, families waiting for Dal Lake to hop onto a shikara, couples posing in traditional Kashmiri attire at Nishad Bagh, a bustling Lal Chowk, packed restaurants, fully booked hotels. The Kashmir Valley is seeing a rush of tourists with estimates of it being the biggest footfall ever. It is so heartening to learn that over 3.5 lakh tourists, mostly domestic, have visited Kashmir in the last 3 months. This number is expected to go up in the coming months. As many as 6.6 lakh tourists from across the country visited in Valley in 2021, which is a considerable increase from figures of past. The generations of 90s like us shied away to admit their mistakes of sowing the wrong seeds. They will not accept it as it is difficult to, and they will ensure that the future generations follow the path of violence and hate through the narrative of victimhood and hate. While some drove narratives as per their convenience to personal examples, advantages, the rest were silent. The harvest was experienced by the Kashmiris, the youth of today, where the youth accounts for 60% of Kashmiri population. It is time for you to take charge and to sow the seeds of success, love and happiness for the generations of the future. Question what you hear from my generation and watch and question what you see in the social media. Not all is truth. Find your smile. Nobody else can do it for you. Definitely not us from the older generation. Embrace the truth and live life in this world. You must leave a legacy for your future generations. So choose wisely to invest in solving the problems of Kashmir and take charge of society for your own future. You are the hope, my dear friends, and I wish you well. Thank you. Again, you would have not reported it. I don't think so that one has done something very different. I've just continued to do what my predecessors have done in Kashmir Valley. So many young company commanders, CEOs and commanders are doing. So many soldiers are doing along with the people of Kashmir, because frankly, Rashtriya Rifle here, which is in the valley, or our Indian Army forces which are deployed on the LC, they are intimate part of the Kashmiri society because we live together here. And therefore, we are also responsible to ensure that whatever trouble and travails come to us or to them, we go through those problems together. So there has been a problem for some time, and we have been going through these issues together. Of course, times have not changed.
Lieutenant Pandey, in your tenure, what are the achievements of the Supreme Court vis-a-vis situation? Then I see the DP of which talked about partner by. What needs to take that?
Okay. Firstly, that DP is actually speaks about me or anybody who's a soldier, that when we do anything, when we perform, when we are carrying out our actions and duties, we do it for our country, we do it for our people. And therefore, whatever we do, we don't have to have any remorse or any regret about it. So that's what defines me or any soldier in uniform. Well, my achievement for last 1 year, if I have to put it out, is that in last about a year plus, more than 200, 250 youth who were possibly on the cusp of becoming a terrorist, and majority of them who had become terrorists, have in some form or other brought back to the society. That's my achievement. And rest everybody achieves in terms of Operation Realm, in terms of actions in the valley and such like things. I don't think that's very important to me and important to Army or Rashtriya Rifle today. For us to ensure that not a woman, mother, daughter, wife has to cry for a loss which is happening because somebody has become a terrorist was important. I had come up with a philosophy of breaking the cycle of violence, in which on one side we kept on utilizing terrorists, including killing or taking surrenders or apprehensions, and on the second side we wanted to reduce the number of terrorists, youth picking up arms. And I think we have done well on both the levels. Most importantly, what transition has taken place, that today Jammu and Kashmir Police, instead of going onto the tech realm for intelligence, is getting so much of a human intelligence that people don't want terrorists to come out and stay in their houses. They are not wanting to be openly called as terrorist supporters. There are places where even the supporters of terrorists or so-called OGWs are being subjected to, are being isolated. There's a change which is happening. I think that's the major thing which has happened here, and I'm very happy for changes.
So, जो नए security dynamics हैं, उसमें recently we've got to know that the apprehension was that the weapons, American weapons in Afghanistan, they'll find their way to Kashmir, and you found signatures, but उसको कितना बड़ा threat है मानते हैं? क्योंकि अभी steel jacketed bullets की भी बात हुई है जो level 3 protection को भी breach करते हैं. आप you want to upgrade, so how do you see that security challenge?
For us, when we wear uniform, there are no challenges. There are only changes required to be in our tactics, procedures, and drills and all. So yes, there are some weapons from across have come which are having a American stamp, or some better quality ammunition started coming in. Some better quality of night scopes have come in. The signatures are not very extensive. There are some only. But does it challenge us? No. I think we have already changed our style of functioning and such like things. We have oriented our drills, and we've been able to manage such a situation.
So how big threat is this hybrid?
No, you see, hybrid threat, terrorist was a threat maybe about 8-9 months back, when people were not able to realize, even the population was not able to understand that today, why is it somebody who's been picked up by the police was a good person, a common person, a student of a school working in an orchard, or a person sitting on a shop, and suddenly why the police has picked him up as a terrorist? Because he was not claiming himself to be a proclaimed terrorist. So the concept has undergone a change, and it was a threat, but in very quick time as security forces evolved, this system has been evolved. The numbers of hybrid terrorists have started coming down, and we see that with the public support, we are able to identify anybody who picks up a weapon or carries out a killing, basically in a very criminalistic manner, is identified very quickly, and thereafter he is removed from the society. I think the society has to be now become more vigilant about these things, especially the parents, that where the children are going, what they're watching, so that they can keep a watch and ensure that a young man of 16, 17 to 20 years old is not given a weapon to carry out a killing of a common civilian at the behest of people who want to ensure that the society carries on to be terrorized. Nobody is happy. There are some elements are totally unhappy with the progress, peace and tranquility which is now coming out as a permanent measure. And therefore they'll keep on evolving new systems to ensure disturbance from this.
So पिछले 2 साल से हमने
ceasefire agreement favorable for you to fight counter-insurgency in Kashmir?
Why should be ceasefire violations or understanding doesn't make a difference to us either way. For us as a military, it doesn't make a difference. But as a citizen of the country, I feel it's very important for our people who are staying on the border areas. Life for them has become normal. They are going as for the businesses as usual. I think that is more important. And I think even on the other side, the civilian population, which is again Kashmiris basically, they're also living a life of tranquility and happiness. For security forces, there is never challenge. But for people, there is challenge.
Sir, Amarnath Yatra is happening after 2 years.
लेकिन सरहद पार भी चेंज ऑफ गार्ड हुआ है, एक्टिविटी भी वहाँ पे हो रही है, तो कैसे देख रहे हैं आप अपने जो सक्सेसर हैं उनके लिए क्या कहेंगे कि क्या हम एलसी पर कैन वी
all changes are for good. I am very sure my successor is more qualified than me and he will do much better than me in managing the environment here and there.
Sir, Amarnath Yatra 2 साल के बाद हो रही है. How do you see the security challenge? Because there are inputs that since soft targets जो है hit हो रहे हैं पिछले 2 साल
My
से.
question is that when is there no security challenge for?
No,
even,
this year, do you see any added threat or what?
There will be threats all the time and we'll be always prepared. The security system is being put in place. It will be a good security system. We don't have to worry about it.
Sir, what about the amnesty policy? What you have found during your tenure that it has really yielded results?
Yes, it has yielded result. The amnesty policy is very simple. You picked up a weapon, you are on the wrong path, step out, join the social stream. If you don't want to come publicly for surrender, reach out to the nearest company commander of RR or police person. We will ensure that you are taken out of circulation. Go through the process of rule of law and thereafter join the society. That's the best possible amnesty thing to happen. Number of people have opted for it.
Any specific figures, sir, if you can share?
It will be better for interest of those people who don't want to travel.
Thank you.